Hello.
Even.
We're early. We all just like popped in.
I was expecting just to come into an empty room and everyone's here. This is what...
None of us can play cool.
Yeah.
It's recording too. We're not streaming, right, Dax? This is just going to be
No,
offline.
we'll just do it. Yeah.
Cool.
Damn, there's an ambush.
Yeah. Hi, Matt.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Dax. How are you guys?
Look, I don't know if it's like this on your screen, but our mics look really nicely aligned because mine's like this, Adam's is like this, and Matt's in the middle. I don't know if this
Yours is straight. Oh, no, it's slightly off because I'm on the left from mine. So. Dax, you're kind of quiet to me.
Oh yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hang on.
Matt was a voice teacher.
Yeah.
How do you? What's the term for that? I botched that really badly.
There's loads. Technically, I was a few different things. I was like a singing teacher and a voice coach and an accent coach and a public speaking coach. So all sorts of bits, but it's all the same gear basically. So you can kind of blag your way into any job you fancy. It was great fun. Yeah, I did that for like 6 years.
So the one that stood out a lot there was the accent coach. Like you would teach people how to have a fake British accent or any accent.
Was it any accent? Do I sound horrible now? By the way,
you sound terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Worse. I was contracted for example, at a drama school where I taught people how to do an American accent for like 6 months or something. And
that is amazing.
Isn't that crazy? A general American accent.
Can you do an American accent right now?
Can you do one?
I can do an American. Yeah, of course. Well,
it's
been you're super loud. It's been a long time. Oh no, I can't do it, man. I can't do it.
Oh
it's been way too long. It's been way too. You can look though. I've got a whole YouTube channel of me teaching different accents.
This is amazing. I've never seen this.
So I taught a Brooklyn accent, like a Scottish accent, a French. I mean, they're all terrible. You know, like I look back now, it's just like, you know, the saying like if you look back on yourself and you don't feel embarrassed, you know, you haven't grown. So that's like living proof of that.
Yeah.
But it was crazy actually because when I was doing my YouTube stuff, I was having to battle against my old channel, which was also Matt Pocock. So I was having to do SEO against myself from a previous career, which is bizarre. Yeah.
Could you maybe throw in some like Scottish or Brooklyn accents into some TypeScript content? That would be amazing. Merge the two worlds.
When I did more streaming, I used to, you know, just knock out a Liverpool accent or something while I was going. You know, I can still do this one. This one's locked in. You know, I guess you probably don't know this accent too much, do you? Because it's like
I've watched a lot of British media, so
okay,
I know.
What was that one?
This is Liverpool. It's close. So it's close to Ireland. Actually, it's just over the Irish Sea. But
okay,
yeah.
But is that in the UK? It's all the same to me, I guess. If it's British, it's just
Ireland.
But it does sound different than your voice.
Thank you.
You're normal.
And I was like, I can definitely tell you're doing something
in this, and that's all I get. It sounds different than your normal voice.
Wait, so how did you learn all these accents? You just like watch TV and.
No, I mean, so my history with it is, if you want to go really deep, which is I started as like it was like my first job basically out of university. My friend basically had a web business where he would sit on all these domain names like Singing Lessons Belfast or Singing Lessons Exeter or whatever, and he said, right, I've got this domain that's like number one for this keyword. Could you take some singing lessons? Because I was a singer and I sort of knew what I was doing. But I'd never taught a singing lesson before. I never actually had a singing lesson before. And so I just thought, oh yeah, okay, I'll give this a go. And I just fell in love with it, basically. I was so addicted. And that was straight out of university. I did that for 6 years. And I was kind of, I just learned it out of books and went and got singing training myself and I then did this master's at Guildford School of Acting, which is like a proper drama school, which was a super weird experience. You know, you could imagine like the drama on tech Twitter is nothing compared to the halls of an actual drama school. Yeah, it was quite a good preparation actually. And and then did a year of that, moved to London and worked in some various drama schools and stuff. And then my way of getting into tech was actually like I was absolutely sick of London. I hated it. I wanted to move back to the countryside, which is kind of where I'm from. And so I thought, what's a good skill that I can learn? I've got a bit of free time because I was teaching singing lessons. I had gaps in the day. What's a skill that I can learn that I can do from anywhere that will mean I can move to the countryside and still earn a decent wage? And that was tech.
Wow.
And now here I am.
So it's wild to think of you not being in tech. Like you talk about the voice lessons and all that stuff. I've heard you talk about it, but I just assumed you kind of like did it on the side of your tech career. But that was
my whole job. That was the dream. That was like,
wow.
Wanting to be one of the best singing teachers in the world if I could, and like make it happen. But I just had to live in London, really, because that's where all the drama schools are. That's where all the clients are. That's where everything is. So, or New York or whatever. But I never want to live in America.
Fair, totally fair. How much is there like does it rhyme in terms of teaching all the things you used to teach and teaching TypeScript or other tech things? Does it feel like there's a lot in common there, or is it just totally different?
It's feels completely similar. And it really felt like, because I was an engineer for 5 years or so before I moved into this, and which is not a terribly long time, but when I started doing it, it just felt like, I see, all the pieces are coming together.
Nice.
I've got this long kind of teaching background and then this sort of tech background, and now, boom, all together. Feels good. It feels really good.
So your whole tech career, that was fully remote then? So you just like get a job and then just move out as soon as you could?
Well, I did quite a lot of startup hopping, basically. So my first job that I had was actually in person in Oxfordshire, which is where I live. And that folded after about 5 months through no fault of my own. I think the company just ran out of money, basically. And then I moved to an agency and was mostly remote, and somewhere else that was mostly remote. So, yeah. And because I was working from home when I was a singing teacher as well, mostly, I've been working from home since like 2012 or something. Like crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I love it, though.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. I'm still stuck on the whole, you've just like, you were in tech for 5 years. Like, that's encouraging for anybody that wants to be like the best at a thing, because you're like the TypeScript guy. And I just assume like you're like those soccer players that were like born on the soccer field, that you like were born in the depths of TypeScript somehow, and you've been doing it for your entire life. So like the fact that, I mean, at Max, you've been doing TypeScript for 5 years and you're like the TypeScript expert. That's pretty wild and encouraging.
Yeah, it's odd for me. It's not a position that I expected to find myself in. I think if you're good at communicating things, often I find that the best engineers out there are actually just the best communicators, you know what I mean? The best at bringing people into their worldview, the best at writing PR descriptions, the best at kind of just smoothly communicating their code, So it always felt quite linked to me in that way.
Yeah, I think that it's also funny that the bar is also like pretty low. I mean, I'm not trying. This is coming off as insults, but
from Dax, an insult.
I mean, it's coming off like a genuine insult, but like, yeah, I think from what I found is, I think people in our field are so especially bad at that stuff. So even if you're just if you pay like any like slight amount of attention, it starts to really go up.
It felt like an astonishing advantage when I started being in tech, you know what I mean? I would be in these meetings and often go to interviews as well that I had no business getting, actually, and would just walk it, because I could actually just talk my way through a full sentence, which is just not something that people tend to prize. I think we have this idea of the 10x engineer that just kind of sits and codes in their brain all day and then spurts out binary, and then like that's our model for how like the genius weirdo, whereas I don't know, I think you can be much more competitive by improving your communication. Absolutely.
I'm realizing I've had this belief as well, and I'm just not good at like articulating these things.
That's funny.
And anyone who
it's like
anyone who listens to this podcast, no, not the best communicator, but I have been really good at like sales in terms of software stuff. Like when I was freelance, when I was doing consulting, I always felt like I could get on any call with a potential client and win that work. Like I would get some kind of a working relationship with this person just from like getting on a call with them. So I don't know if that's communication or if it's something else, personality, or I don't know. There's something there that I've always felt like I'm not that good at programming, but I seem to do pretty well at this one thing. So I do think it makes sense in my brain.
Yeah.
And I think most of what being a programmer is not programming, It's all the stuff around the edges. And it's the stuff around the edges is where most of the value is, I think, not actually writing the code.
Yeah, it's funny because both me and Adam, and it sounds like you also spend a lot of time as consultants, just like on our own. And you'll often see a thread on Hacker News or somewhere where someone posts something like, "Hey, I'm interested in going freelance. How do I do this?" And you can tell that it seems like such an impossible mystery to them. Like, how do you possibly do this? And all the replies, people are actually talking about how difficult or like impossible it is, kind of. But it's funny because if I look back on how I actually did it, it's like the stupidest, most straightforward thing ever. Like, you spend time, find one connection, do a good job, then like find another connection, and then find another connection. And that first connection comes back to you a year later being like, "Hey, I remember you did a good job. Let's like do more stuff together." And like over time, if you build good relationships with people, it just starts to compound. It's very, very straightforward, but I just see people when they talk about getting into it, it just seems like an impossible mystery.
And I imagine it feels quite insecure for people who haven't done it before as well. Full disclosure, I haven't done that much self-employed stuff. I've mostly been employed and then doing courses, But I was self-employed as a singing teacher for 6 years before that. And it's all about like the amount of repeated streams of income. And the more you have, the more they hedge against each other, Because it often like, oh, you're self-employed. How can that possibly, like, that must feel so insecure, as like an income stream. But if you've got 7 different clients that you work for sporadically, if one goes, you just find another one.
Yeah.
It's the most secure kind of income, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
It really is. Yeah, I was just going to say, it always felt so hard to leave because a couple times in my career, I've left like a stable, like just get paid job and gone on my own. It's always so scary that like that first leap. And then once you do it, you realize it's actually the ceiling's just so much higher and you never end up making less than you did. It's just like, it's better in all the ways, but it is scary, especially if it's your first time, I would imagine.
Yeah. I'm curious though, because I was self-employed for 6 years and then I got a full-time job, which was my first full-time job I've ever had. First 9 to 5. And what I noticed was I would rock up in the morning and slowly over time, this little kind of ticking clock that was in my brain, it had been since I was 21, just disappeared. And I was like, I no longer need to think, like I can take a holiday and they will pay me for not doing any work. You know what I mean? How amazing is that? And that little anxiety just sort of went away and I just felt free. And I think it's there again, because I'm back self-employed now. I think it's back there. But I can't tell, and I won't be able to tell until I get a full-time job again. Yeah. Is this something you guys feel?
100%. It's totally there. And I think it shows up in very practical ways where if you're someone that bills by like the week or by the hour, whatever it is, so you want to go on vacation. Okay, your vacation costs $2,000. And it also costs like the $5,000 you're not going to make that week. So everything just becomes like, even if you're not explicitly thinking about it, like there's just friction to all of those things. So yeah, definitely it feels like something's always going. You're always like juggling. There's like a juggler in your head, basically. That's what it feels like for me.
But I've only had one of those real jobs that you mentioned. And I would say during that period, it was very, like I went into it thinking this is going to be like vacation. I've never like just had a job where I just clock in, clock out, get paid. But like I still had all the side projects. I didn't actually drop all the other stuff. It's like I still tried to fit it all in and it just got more stressful. So I think for some people, you just can't turn off that like itch to do your own thing. And if you try to work at a normal job, you just end up doing it all and it sucks.
Totally.
That's how it worked for me.
I would guess maybe that's like a once in a lifetime thing for me then, because I was coming off being a singing teacher and it's not like I could, because I moved to a totally different place. Not like I could like do my singing teaching in London on the side or something. Like, so it was just, it was lovely though. I recommend it though. Just move to a different side of the world and,
Yeah, there
give
you
up
go.
all your side projects.
Disconnect from everything. You have no
Sounds
option.
great.
I guess when I had a baby, I think paternity leave both times. That was probably the only time in my career I felt really unplugged. You've just gone through that, right, Matt?
So my baby was literally teething like 15 minutes ago, just screaming in the house up there. And he was born in January. And it's been surreal because I sell courses now. People will buy the courses whether I'm working or not, which is amazing. It's the closest I've felt to kind of like passive income, And so for the last like 5 months or so, I've been working maybe 8 hours a week or something. It's been so good.
Wow.
So just hanging out with baby. It's
the dream, man.
It's been amazing.
Is that your dream, Dax? You're not a normal human being. Is that your dream?
That does sound really nice.
It's not.
And I think no. I think it is. I think that's like definitely what I'm working to for sure. That's like what it's a point of doing everything that I'm doing now, I think. I don't know what it'll be like if I actually get that. Like maybe I'll like it for a bit and I'll go crazy, but I definitely need to be working, but I don't think it needs to be like working on a baby seems like it would still count,
it is kind of like, I like that way of saying it though, because it does feel like that, when you're putting baby clothes on, it's sort of, it's like
on the baby, not on yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. Because that's really appreciated.
I mean, we can see his hands. He was like gesturing that there was a baby. He was putting them on. But when you think about the sentence, it is kind of when you're putting baby clothes on.
When you're putting baby clothes on, you're doing something that has the fruits of your labor are immediately apparent. You know what I mean? You're very connected to the outcome of your work, which is just often not something you get when you're coding.
Yeah.
Sort of do. You get a nice little dopamine feedback loop and stuff. But yeah, and that's been great. So I thought I would be like you, Dax. I thought I would be like feeling the fever to work all of the time, and I'm not. It's great.
Yeah, I've always wondered what my like time frame is. Like at what point of having that kind of schedule where it's like actually way less stuff going on. Like, is it 6 months? Is it a year? I do think there's some point on the horaizon where I would start feeling.
I think you're maybe worse than. I feel like this is more dangerous for you. I feel like based on your personality.
Yeah, I'm a manic.
Yeah.
I'm hypomanic or something. I get a little like nuts if I'm not outletting. I don't know. But then I'll have weeks like Casey goes away for a week. She's at a volleyball camp right now. And when I'm full-time dad, I feel like I can just channel my focus beam, like that intense thing that I do, into like being the best possible dad. And it's kind of fun. Like it's a type of work. It's like the baby. It's like, it's not the same. It's totally different. But there's all these ways you can min-max it, and you can like do these things to get ahead of stuff. And you got the chores going, you got the kids going, you got everything. It's like you can still kind of do it. It's interesting. Yeah, in any area of life, probably.
Yeah, although I think it rewards your focus in that way. It does actually reward. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it in an odd way. Kind of just like coding, just like work, in fact. It rewards itself.
Yeah, if we're not working towards slowing down at some point, then what are we doing? Like, I hope that comes. It's awesome, Matt, that you've gotten there. Yeah, I don't know. My wife doesn't believe it. She doesn't believe I'll ever slow down, but I'd like to think I will someday.
I think you have slowed down like 1% every year, probably. So I would imagine you're probably past like the worst.
It's probably just like that's just getting old, though, isn't it? Right? Just your abilities.
Because Dax, you're younger. I don't even know, Matt, how old you are. I guess I know Dax is like
I'm 32.
30s.
I'm not that young.
I'm 33.
You're 33.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I am older.
Yeah.
I'm just getting slow because I'm old. I'm 37. I'm going to be 38 this year. Just a month or so.
Wow. Damn.
Jeez, yeah, I know.
Jeez. So you were born 1986, is that right?
Yeah, 86.
I read a stat today that 1986 is the same distance apart from 2024 as it is to 1938.
Oh my gosh. I hate when people do that. I hate when people pull that trick.
Oh.
So good.
It's like to me the 70s were 30 years ago. Always.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
always
They're
gonna be
literally like
2000s.
50 something years old. Oh god, it's like
So
completely
wild.
mind blowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess not every generation gets that. Like not every generation kind of goes over the millennium boundary or whatever.
Yeah,
but I feel like that's got to be a phenomenon.
yeah, like everything's oriented around that point in my head.
Mhm.
That is crazy. But yeah, so I don't have any kids, but I think we're planning for that soon. Probably on a very similar timeline to you if you're a year older than me. But yeah, we'll see. I don't think
Check back in a year.
Yeah.
Can you break the news on the podcast, please? Sorry. Continue.
Get me back in.
No pressure.
I'm just gonna be holding a baby
Yeah,
one
that was the
episode. No, that's actually what I want to do. I want to like not say anything at all and just completely drop it unannounced because I don't think I
Surprise.
give off the vibe of someone that would have children or like would be seen with a baby. So I think it would be like very shocking for people.
I feel like you're a fatherly figure on tech Twitter. You're just talking down to us all.
I'm like
slapping our
I'm
wrists.
like an immigrant fatherly figure. Yeah.
So this is an important part of the Dax brand. Is like childless, available.
Yeah, available.
Yeah.
Not available. No. I'm definitely not available.
Well, you know, there's
Hopefully
nothing
not.
tying you down. You know, like you could.
Just a dog and a wife.
And as we've talked about
Dog.
before, having a dog is exactly like a baby. It's the exact same thing, basically the exact same.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't wait to have a baby so that I can be like, okay, now that I have a baby, I can confirm it's the exact same thing, and that'll just upset everyone.
Yeah. So easy. Yeah. So easy.
Yeah. So
What do you do for fun, Matt? Oh, sorry, you were going to ask an important
I was going to ask
question,
something
and
just
I'm-
like that, actually. Yeah.
Oh, really?
What do you do for
I
fun?
just don't know much about you, like as a person.
You live in the
know?
country. Do you farm? Is that what you do?
I don't farm. No. I don't. It's not that country. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like it's town. You know, it's
Yeah.
towny.
Yeah,
I
that's
guess
where I'm from.
I grew up in
Small
I grew up in
town,
a
like-
place like that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how many people are we talking? What is a small town in the countryside of the UK?
The town I grew up in was like 8,000 people, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
we're
is like
like-
smaller.
yeah.
I think there's like 1,000 people here, 500 people here, and then we're
Yeah,
moving
I grew
somewhere
up in a
even
town of
smaller. actually.
2,000.
Oh, really? You're
Ooh,
trying to get
even
away
smaller.
as far as you can from everyone.
Yeah.
I'm all about that life.
Yeah. It's gonna be great, man. We're moving to this place where it's just like there's just beautiful walks all around. There's like some really rich people who just live up the hill, and so like the surrounding countryside basically can't be built on because it's going to spoil their views. So it's just
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
can't wait.
You have like so I went to Europe for the first time in my life a couple of weeks ago.
Nice.
But like, what is it? So when you say you go and live in a house, is it like you have a backyard and a front yard, or is it like what's like the situation? Do you have like a property?
Yeah.
Like, do you have a forest? Like, what's the deal?
No, we've got backyard, front yard of reasonable size. We don't like. It's not like we have peasants or serfs or anything. It's just like it's just got a bit of land basically, a plot.
Okay.
We don't have as much space as in the US, obviously. So it costs a pretty penny, as we say.
Oh, it's just a big island. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You guys are a big island, technically.
Well, yeah, I guess everything's a big island. If you really think about it.
Yeah.
There's water everywhere. But like, I mean, it's a smaller island than the US, right? Like,
Yeah.
so space is premium. But there's countryside. I mean, there's places where it's not super developed, right?
That's true. But it's just like there's just enough to squeeze into a postcard, and then for the brand, and then it's kind of just stuff. Apart from Scotland, where it's just desert basically.
Yeah.
Desolate area.
So how
It's
close
desert
is
in
the?
Scotland. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, how close is the next
I'll
house?
Wikipedia it. Go ahead.
How close is the next house to you? Like, are the houses like right next to each other, or
Well,
like?
yeah, it's like semi-detached, so it's literally boom.
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah, I mean, Miami is like very similar. Like, I have a house with a front yard and a backyard, but it's obviously a city, not a lot of space, so
Yeah.
the houses are right next.
You're in Miami.
next to-
Wow. Cool.
Yeah, I was in New York for 10 years, and I moved to Miami 3 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah, not the country really,
Mm,
more like the swamp.
the swamp.
I live in the country. The Ozarks are kind of like the country in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the countryside.
Yeah,
I
I
sit
watched
on
the show.
2
It was good.
acres. Yeah, the
That's-
show.
That's crazy.
That's
Yeah,
all-
all
that's
kinds of
my
room. You guys should
only-
move to the Ozarks.
That's my only thing with the Ozarks. That's all I know about the Ozarks.
That's
Is
all
money
anybody knows.
laundering and
Before that show, nobody knew anything. I never said the Ozarks before that show because
Mm,
no one would know what that was. I've grown up in the Ozarks. I knew what it was, but
mm.
than Jason Bateman. Put us on the map. I get to say I'm from the Ozarks, and people are like, "Oh, drugs and stuff." I'm like, yeah, basically.
Nice. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We never let you finish. So
Oh yeah. What do you do for fun?
yeah, so you move out to the country,
Yes.
and then you're not going to farm.
I'm not going to farm. No. I walk. What the hell do I do for fun, man?
I know I have trouble answering this
Video
question
games.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
too. Oh,
I got into juggling randomly last year.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I wanted to do something with my hands that wasn't like coding or playing video games, So I just got into juggling, and now every morning, sit my boy down for 20 minutes and just start juggling. It's fantastic.
Does he like
That's
it?
amazing.
It's great. I've gotten really good.
Nice.
How long?
That's
How
funny.
long did it take you to
sorry,
the
guys.
first time where you actually did a whole round of juggling? Because I feel like there's this learning curve where you're just not juggling, and then suddenly you're juggling. Are you gonna juggle for us,
No, sorry. My wife just needed my keys.
or did we lose it?
Hello, can you hear me?
He's moved too far out
think
to the
he's-
country.
Oh shit.
Oh. Is he
hello,
back?
hello, hello,
Nope.
hello, hello.
I think we lost you, Matt. I feel like he was starting to juggle, like he was getting himself
No, I
positioned.
think he was just
No?
repositioning.
Okay.
Here's some nice still frames we're getting.
It's really thinking hard with the tongue out there.
I can juggle too.
You can juggle? What?
Yeah.
When did you learn to juggle?
I don't know. It just clicked for me one day that I was like, it clicked for me one day that the balls don't go like this. Or, well, I mean, the easiest way of juggling, the balls don't go in a circle. They go you alternate hands and they go
Like
up
a
and down.
crisscross.
It's
like
like
an X kind of.
Yeah. It's basically like you're just holding two balls and just keeping one in the air and then letting go of one right before catching that. And once that clicked in my head, it was just very easy.
Huh.
And
You were just thinking one day, you're just sitting there and you were like, hey, juggling is actually just where the two balls and then the one ball. You're just thinking that, and then suddenly you can juggle because you just thought about that. It's like the Matrix. You just uploaded juggling to your brain.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I can juggle. What a dumb thing to not be able to do. I can do that.
I'm pretty good with handling balls in general.
What kind of a sentence was this? Did you think about it before you said it?
Of course I did.
Okay. Oh, man. That was funny. So we've lost Matt officially. He's dropped out. I'm sure he'll be back. It's been a while though, Dax. How you been?
I know
Haven't
it's a
talked
first.
in a while.
This is weird. Just talking the two of us.
That it gets
How
4
odd.
episodes in a row. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, he's back.
He looks back.
Back? Yes. Sorry, my wife.
Just had to get some juggling in.
My wife
Oh,
took my
sorry, go ahead.
keys and then just destroyed my internet somehow with her magnetic field or something. Something happened.
No joke. My wife, we're convinced she's got something with electricity. She has fried so many watches in her life. 3 different watches have died on her. I've never had my watch die.
I've never even heard of
just
that.
stop
No.
working. Yeah, no, I'm serious. And then there's other weird stuff that's happened where she touched something, an electronic, and it stopped working. I'm telling you, there's something there. We don't understand it all yet.
Okay.
I don't know.
Is there an X-Man like that?
Maybe.
Maybe.
She's a
She's a mutant.
What a useless power. The ability to
Yeah,
stop
that.
time, but not literally, just
Also, is that the singular of X-Men? X-Man? I suppose it is, isn't it?
Yeah, X-Man, right? It's a great question.
Hi, I'm an X-Man.
I'm an X-Man.
Yeah, you wouldn't say I'm an X-Men. That
No,
doesn't make any sense.
I mean the X-Men.
I am
I'm
Legion.
part of the X-Men, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an
Well, I
X-Man.
guess. Oh yeah.
Your business card would read X-Man, right?
Yeah. That's your
X-woman,
LinkedIn
I guess.
profile, right? That's
Yeah, yeah.
Wolverine, X-Man. I was thinking, I've had this for a long time, where when you say I fit in somewhere, or like the past participle of fit is fit, right? I think it should be fat. When I join the company, I fat in really well, like sat. Do you know what I think?
Oh,
Well,
it's so good.
I think Americans don't use sat as much as you guys do.
What?
Really?
No.
I say it.
Is that
Yeah,
it's a
but
famous cultural difference?
No. Here. Of course, we'll say I sat on the bus, but
Yeah.
I think you guys also use it in this other way where I can't think of an example.
There's something where they say I had a sit or something, don't they?
I don't know about that. But
Did I make that up?
I sit down. You say that? I'll have a sit down.
I have a sit down. Yeah, do you say that?
Yeah,
we don't say that.
Oh, yeah, we say that. Yeah. Go and have a sit down.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't say
Oh
that.
yeah, okay, wow.
But there's a time we don't say sat. That's what you're saying.
I'm struggling to think of an example, but
I've been struggling this whole conversation ever since Matt said past participle. I don't know what that is. I'm sure it's a real thing. But I grew up in the Ozarks, and I have no idea what that word means.
I grew up in the Ozarks and I have no education. So
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's an issue.
okay, yeah.
But yeah, I like juggling. I like juggling a lot, yeah.
So was it like a months long learning curve, or do you just pick it up pretty quick?
Yeah, it's like,
If I want to learn to juggle,
you want to learn?
I said if I do, I don't. But if I did want to,
If you want to, yeah.
like a couple months or
No,
No,
like,
it's not that long. You can probably learn in a couple days. Like it's
Oh, you can,
really?
Yeah, Dax,
Yeah.
you can juggle.
yeah. The basic, this one, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I can do 2 in one hand. I can do that for a little bit.
Very nice.
Yeah,
They've got
that's about
names,
it.
you know. There's the Cascade. There's the Reverse Cascade.
Oh,
There's
okay, I think
Mill's
I-
Mess.
Mills
the-
Mess. Oh
The
my
Tornado.
God.
No, I'm making that up. They've got names though. Yeah. You can look them up.
Oh,
I feel
okay.
like the fact that you can learn it in 2 days, though, kind of took some of the shine off, a little of the mystique of juggling.
Well-
I thought people who could juggle, it's like this crazy skill that they've learned
But
over
it's
years.
not a
but-
binary thing. Like I can do, like you said, the Cascade. I think is probably what it is, and I probably can't do it as smooth as Matt can. And there's probably a lot of other juggles and things you can juggle.
You couldn't like go like stand on a stage and do cool stuff that people would be entertained by. You're not there.
Yeah, I think I would just start insulting people. That's mostly my talent. I would juggle for
Talent?
30
Yeah, I'm not
seconds
so
and then I would just start insulting
Insulting
the
people and
Roasting.
not having children. That is the Dax brand.
No, wait, to be clear, my brain is not that I'm one of those child-free people, because I find those people very, very annoying. And I want to make
see.
sure
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I'm well past the phase in my life where I thought that was a cool thing. So,
The glorifying of lack of children. Yeah.
yeah.
Not part of the Dax brand. Just
No.
incidentally not having children. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I gotta ask, what video games do you play? Dax plays video games.
I
I've
haven't
played.
in a while, but
So I'm an enormous football fan, soccer fan. So I've played probably, I think, about 3,000 hours of various Football Manager games. You know, like
Football Manager.
Yeah.
I love it, man. It just sucks you in.
I've actually never heard that term, but I can imagine. Is it like you manage the team and you hire players and
Yeah.
you do stuff like that?
Yeah. Hire players,
'Cause
choose
there's
the
that in
tactics.
American sports games where you can like manage the team, the franchise, or whatever, and you like manage them over
Yeah.
years.
But-
That's so fun.
But
So
Football
good.
Manager is like a dedicated game where it's just that, and there's no like
Oh, see that's the problem with the other games. Like if you play Madden, like I used to,
you have
in
to actually
college,
play the football game.
yeah, you or you like sim the games, but then you lose something. It's kind of like less of a game. You lose something if you don't play the games. It's not quite as like first party. Like this is the point of the thing. So that's awesome. If there's a game that the whole point is just to be the manager, I love that.
Yeah.
Are there even like there aren't games you don't have to play them? It's assumed they're gonna all be simulated. Is that how it works?
Was there a question in there?
Or can you actually play the game? Like you can actually play
you
the
can-
football game?
No, you can't. You
No,
just the managing.
You're just on the
Yeah.
side.
Yeah,
You're
that's-
watching.
That's the best.
You're making subs. You're shouting onto the field.
Yep.
You're
Oh wait, you're actually on the side of the like
Yeah.
on the sideline.
not like
you're the coach.
first person view or something, but like
Okay.
yeah. You're looking down from above.
Got it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
great.
no.
I've asked a lot of questions.
Matt's there
I'm
like a
gonna stop
VR
now.
headset, and the experience is just being on the side of the soccer match. It's just like,
Also, I'm not joking, but I've played a lot of Euro Truck Simulator 2.
oh, you're one of those people. I see. Okay, I'm getting the feel. You like the simulations. You like
Yeah.
living another life.
I like lots of stuff, but like weirdly, I bought like a steering wheel for that. You know
Yeah,
what I
I've
mean?
got one too.
Like, have you? Yeah, it's really weirdly addictive.
What is a Euro truck? You said a Euro truck?
Yeah, well,
simulator?
there's American
it's
truck.
truck simulator and then Euro trucks. It's not Euro truck simulator. You know?
So it's a European truck, like a 18-wheeler. Like you drive across the country and deliver goods, but it's a simulator to do that. Really?
And it's really
What part are
calming.
you simulating? Are you simulating the driver or the logistics people that are figuring out where to get stuff?
You're the football manager
dispatcher.
watching the truck going by. Yeah,
It's full of
circle.
soccer balls. Yeah.
exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah. No,
No, you're
yeah,
driving.
it's great. Yeah, you're driving. You know, it's
You're
got
driving.
like realistic rain simulation. You know,
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You're telling me? I'm sorry.
Yes, people
You're
literally
telling me
do this.
There are simulations for being a truck driver.
Yeah.
Yep.
it's
And
like five.
That's a thing.
It's like £5, and it is so relaxing. It is like the
People love it.
essence of relaxation.
So
And it's real, like, sorry, I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Is it like a flight simulator in the sense
Yeah.
that it's real environments,
Yeah.
like real highways,
Yeah,
real?
yeah.
Oh,
so routes.
Realish, you know. Like, because you don't want to be
Yeah.
driving in a truck for like 8 hours at a time, you know. So it's like, oh, you made it
Yeah.
to, I don't know,
speeds it up a little
Stockholm
bit.
or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's, you know, you get all this DLC where it expands the map of Europe and stuff. And
Okay, this actually sounds pretty.
It's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
When you think about it being like a truck driver simulator,
Yeah.
it sounds less appealing. But then the more you describe it, I could see it being fun.
extremely.
You were gonna say
it would be a
something.
crazy plot twist if eventually they just connected you to real trucks, then you were just running real routes, and they just got they just got rid of having to have them pay drivers because people wouldn't do it for free as long as they can do it from their house.
Yeah. To be honest,
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
is cool. I got super into. So the reason I have a steering wheel is I got really into racing. Like to the point where I had the VR headset, the steering wheel, the force feedback, like all of that stuff. And me and my friends would just spend hours every single day just racing the same track over and over, like lap after lap after lap. And we'd be like, oh man, got down like 1/10 of a second. And that was like a big accomplishment for like,
Yeah.
And I feel like physical grooves in my brain around that track. Like if I like go and play it again, I can like feel the turns. I can feel exactly what everything. We did it so much.
That's awesome.
Got super into it. Yeah.
I love that kind of. That's such a thing unique to video games. Is it kind of it retrains your brain in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like you just respond to stimuli differently when you really log in and like, that's great.
Yeah,
I admire that.
Totally escapes. Yeah, and even when I'm driving, so the thing I always say is everyone says that, oh, where I'm from has the craziest drivers, but like objectively it is Miami. Like anyone that comes here is always like, oh, okay, never mind, it's fine back home. Like people here are insane.
Yeah.
So I'm always having to do like crazy maneuvers to dodge people, and I can feel like the training from the simulator like kind of kick in. Like I'm like hitting the brake and turning the wheel in a certain way, and like
Wow.
it's funny though because I'm like
Drifting.
Crazy.
Well, race cars are funny because they don't have all this automatic stuff that normal cars do, so it's very easy to like spin out.
Yeah.
So I'm like treating my car as though it's that sensitive. It's not. Like it doesn't need me to be that that intentional about things. But yeah,
Are you into Formula One, Dax?
yeah, I haven't been super as into it in the last couple years, but there was a period of time where I was like obsessively following it. Yeah, and they opened up a Miami track in the last 2 years. I haven't gone yet, but I do plan to do that.
Yeah, I got into it a few years ago when Verstappen was racing Hamilton, and it was really, really exciting. And then Verstappen's just won every time, and I really hate that little rat boy. I just want him to lose all the time. So,
My thing, okay, so here's my thing with Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. Obviously, for years he was just crushing everyone. But do you remember that race when they put he's a younger kid. He was on another team, and they put him in the Mercedes car for one of the races. Yes, was it Russell? Yeah. And he like was doing insane. He did like so much better than he ever did before. And I was like, okay, so now we know how much of this is Lewis Hamilton and how much of it is like the Mercedes team, which is obviously amazing. Obviously it's both, and there's like a crazy synergy, and you know that if you like follow the sport. But yeah, it was weird to see this guy that was pretty much always in last place every single race just to like rocket to first. And I think in that race, it was something crazy. Like his car like hit a nail or something, and he got a flat tire. So that's why he ended up not.
It was bonkers, and then Sergio Perez came from like starting 20th to finishing first, like one of the craziest races of all time. Yeah. But it's never that exciting. Like
exactly, that's what I was gonna say. So the thing with F1 is why I stopped watching it is it's a 2 hour or so race on like the actual race day, and you're sitting there watching, hoping that this race is the one where something really insane happens. Yep. But most races are very technical and consistent. It's like the people that started in first ended up in first because like it's a formula, and everyone's like drilled in, and like this guy always gets 1/10 of a second faster on every lap, so he ends up first. Like it's always works out that way. But occasionally you'll get like these 5-minute bursts of like the most exciting thing you've ever seen in your life. So you're just chasing that all the time.
Yeah, it's built for highlights basically. And there's often races where there are just no highlights. It's absolutely insane. How can you design a sport that's this boring? But sometimes it's mildly exciting.
Yeah.
And just
it's about the lifestyle also, right? It's like the classic one was who's the guy that always was with Hamilton? Who was his teammate? Bottas. I think it was him. I think it was in Monaco. He crashed because he was out of the race, and he gets out of his car, walks off the track, keeps walking straight onto a yacht, and just sits there, watches the rest of the race. Yeah, he was like, I'm done with the race. So he just walked right off onto like this yacht that was parked right there. So it's like it's like rich world sport.
It's rich NASCAR.
It's what it is.
NASCAR is like hillbillies and Midwestern United States. Formula One sounds like very rich people in Europe.
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Yeah. So someone joked about like, we're all just watching a bunch of billionaires like race around a track, fly around a track and almost die for 2 hours.
Billionaires in traffic, basically, just going around and around.
Exactly.
That's it. God, yeah, that is depressing.
I've wanted to get into F1. Same with European football. Like, these are things, as an American, there's things I wish I had. I wish I'd used the metric system. I wish I was into football like the rest of the world. And I've wanted to get into F1, but you guys are not making a great pitch.
No, don't do it.
It's not sounding like a thing. Okay.
The best thing to watch is just a Netflix series because that like dramatizes everything.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I heard it's so good and you'll get into F1.
That's what got me into it as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can just watch the Netflix part and then not get into the sport and I get the best of all of it. Okay.
What's crazy is that that Netflix series, so F1 as a sport has grown like insane ever since that series. Like just that one decision to let a film crew in and do this, I think it like these teams are valued at a crazy amount now. Like the people that invest in the teams at the right time have like a crazy return that they're looking at. But yeah, just that one documentary was super effective. So you should go watch it. Yeah.
Another thing that I'm kind of into, or I'm sort of going in and out, is chess. I really like chess.
Okay.
I used to play a little bit, like actually in person locally as well, but I kind of suck. And the Queen's Gambit did
I've watched the Queen's Gambit.
Exploded chess. Like it sort of came at the same time as lockdown, and chess is free to get into, and you can just play. And it has there's literally. That's what they talk about. It's like an era before the Queen's Gambit and an era after the Queen's Gambit.
Interesting.
Just exploded.
Like chess clubs and local like chess places just blew
chess
up with
streamers
after that.
Are now massive.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The biggest things on Twitch. Like they have chess tournaments like for streamers on Twitch as well, like PogChamps or something. It's huge. Like chess.
Interesting.
The biggest chess YouTuber, Gotham Chess, gets millions of views per video. Like crazy.
It's actually just like tech Twitter because I will peek into there every once in a while and it'll be like guy reacts to Gotham Chess and he's like there's some drama and they're like all pissed at each other and yeah.
There was a guy who was accused of cheating.
Yes, I remember that whole thing. That was crazy.
Via anal beads.
Yes.
I'm sorry, what now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to elaborate a little bit.
So this guy was. So when you go into a chess tournament, you can't have a phone because then you can just look up the moves. You can't be communicated with in any way, so they search you. And this guy was supposedly getting hints via vibrating anal beads that he had.
Wow.
Allegedly.
That is next level.
Yeah.
I know.
Wait, wasn't that like Magnus Carlsen accused him of that, wasn't it?
I think he said something. So Magnus Carlsen, biggest, one of the best chess players of all time. He said something like, he doesn't seem like he's playing like a human. He seems like a human with, some stuff going on.
Yeah.
Anal beads.
I'm convinced that I don't know about the anal beads thing, but I'm convinced that I could pull off cheating in one of those tournaments. I feel like if you are like committed to cheating, it doesn't seem that hard to sneak something in. Is it that hard? Like, do they make you play naked? Like,
it's really interesting because they actually can just feel when you're cheating.
Oh, because yeah. Well, it would be suspicious if I just showed up and just started like wrecking people. But
I've never heard of you and you're beating everyone.
Beading. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the American accent confusing us again. Not beating, beading.
Beating, yeah. Beating.
We have said
Beating.
anal beads on this episode at least 6 times. That's 6 times more than any other episode.
That's great.
It's coming up in the most innocent way possible in reference to playing
Absolutely.
chess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite. Yeah.
Didn't he also get banned from chess.com for other cheating he'd done in the past? And
No idea. Yeah. I can't remember. I came in at anal beads and left at anal beads, so that was my interest peaked.
Man.
Now I want to get into chess. Everything you've described, I just want to get into it now.
I don't know if you're smart enough.
You're a good communicator, Matt.
Thank you.
You're selling me.
About chess.
On chess.
It's great fun. I mean, it's very dangerous
Juggling.
for me because I got into it when I was a singing teacher, and I just you play like 5-minute games or something. 5 minutes for you, 5 minutes for your opponent. I got into like 3-minute games as well, and I just stopped answering emails. Basically, I just stopped functioning as a human being, and so my business just went like that. And I didn't even improve that much as well as the frustrating thing. I ironically sacrificed so much time to it, and I just sort of got maybe a 5% better. It was horrendous.
That's exactly my experience with video games. Like, because Steam, when you go to click to play any of your games, it shows you right there how many hours you've put into it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's certain games where hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, and I'm not really that good. Really, I'm 10% better than where I was when I started. So
yeah, the Rocket League
extra
phenomenon.
depressing.
Absolutely, yeah.
I just feel like everyone that plays video games is better than me. That's my experience of playing anything multiplayer. I'm I'm just literally the worst person in the world because they can't match me with a single person that I am better than.
My experience with games was always that I'm just so slow, and I thought it was just that I was of the wrong generation or something. Is it the younger generation is just twitchier and faster and but I guess it's card games too. Any speed, any card game where you have to slap really fast, I'm so slow.
Actually,
I have terrible reactions.
We're spending so much time on my hobbies, but that is actually the main thing that I'm into is board games.
Oh, really? I wanted to start. I wanted to enter that.
Okay, yeah, I'm your guy. I can help.
Do you collect them as well?
I've got a shelf of board games. Yeah.
Yeah,
and actually, there's various spillover shelves in here as well.
What's your favorite board game or your top 3
right now? I guess I know it's always changing for the board game people.
It is, yeah. I haven't gotten to play that much in the last 5 months or so for
got a baby
particular reason. Yeah,
that's how life goes.
Cosmic Encounter, I think, has to be my favorite board game.
I've never heard of it.
What is the pitch? The description?
It is relatively simple. It's like poker in space. So you're bluffing. You're trying to take over other people's planets. It's pretty simple. You're playing cards and doing various things. But there are 100 different aliens that ship in the box, and everyone is a different alien race. And they all have powers that just completely break the game. So every single game is different.
Every game's different.
There's a power
brilliant.
where one player, maybe their ships just can't be killed. They are indestructible. And it's how the hell are we going to get around that? You know what I mean? And so you've got to work together. You've got to negotiate. You've got to work out, okay, we'll just destroy them first and then go to this person. Then it turns out that this person has some hidden secret power where if takes 10 turns and they just win the game automatically. You know what I mean? It's just explosions of various stuff, and it's so much fun. So every single game is different. It's amazing.
What was it?
Cosmic Encounter.
Cosmic Encounter. So that sounds incredible. It sounds like the best board game I've ever heard of. Have you ever Dax? You go to Target in America and go look at the board games. There's never any good board games.
No, well,
it's all the classics are at the top, and then all the new stuff is garbage. I've never seen anything remotely interesting like that.
Yeah, no, this is a different world. So I have a friend here that is super into board games. He gave me this game called Castles. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Just Castles?
I think it's just called Castles. Yeah,
not we still of Mad King Ludwig or something, or no? I mean that is actually a board game. That's not a punchline. Even.
Oh, really?
Mad King Ludwig. Okay, is it this one? Yes, it's this one.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's the same one that
I think it's this one. Yeah. The box.
I've never played it, but it's supposed to be really good.
Wait, actually, it's right behind me.
Oh, sick.
Oh, we're gonna get a little visual.
Yeah, no, I can't. It's under a bunch of other board games, but. Yes, okay. It is this one. And me and my wife still haven't played it, but he recommended it because it's good if you're like new to this stuff, and it's fun even with just 2 people. And I think that was my challenge. Like a lot of traditional board games, like they all suck with 2 people. They're like so boring. But this world, like then there's a lot of options for things like that.
Yeah, I don't have people to come play with me, so it would have to be good for 2 or 3 people.
How old are your kids?
Like if my oldest, I've got he's 8 is my oldest, and then 4. So 8. Yeah, could an 8-year-old play Cosmic Encounter? Because this sounds so fun.
So I think yes. Actually.
Probably not a 4-year-old.
No.
You'd probably have to resort to cheating.
Yeah. But
not in the way that we've talked about on this episode. I'm not going to make that joke. Not about my 4-year-old. Nope. Just going to move right past that one.
This episode's got a lovely kind of cyclical nature, isn't it? Right? Sort of just spiraling down towards the same 2 words again and again. That is bizarre.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I mean...
so where do you get the good board games? Where do you find these? Because they're not at Target.
Yeah, I mean, there's a board game cafe in Oxford that I go to that my friend works at, actually, or works at different. But yeah, they've just got, hundreds of these things. They're great.
Okay.
But
I'm just going to buy them online.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
I was like, they don't have some of them in the Ozarks.
Looking them up right
in
now.
the Ozarks, they have My House and the grocery store, and that's basically it.
Sorry, yeah, I forgot. I forgot, yeah.
If the stuff's not already in the house, it's not there.
BoardGameGeek.com.
Yes.
Do you guys visit this? Is this your homepage in your browser?
It is a well-respected ranking. Yeah.
It was number 1 on Google when I searched for Cosmic Encounters, so I get the sense.
Yeah. I've seen my friend's collection, and he's got so many, and some of them like take an hour to set up, and like so complex. And once it's set up, you have to like play it over the course of like weeks even, and you can't like touch it or mess it up. It's cool.
Yeah.
I want to get into it.
Like, do you have friends that just come over, Matt? Like, how do you play board games typically? Do you
Yeah,
have a board game night?
I mean, there's I have a couple of game nights that I go to. I was looking to set up like a JavaScript meetup with this guy called Pete, who lives locally, and we just sort of gave that up and started playing board games instead.
JavaScript is boring.
Yeah, so we just do that instead, and it's way more fun. And so I've got some board game dads that I hang out with as well. It's great way to meet people.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna switch topics a little bit, just because now let's talk about JavaScript, I guess. So what are you working on these days? So I know you had your big course, which seems very successful. Are you working on like more stuff related to that? Like what's occupying your time?
Since August last year, I've been working on 2 things that are linked. I've been writing a book. And that book is now with the publishers. So it's being published through No Starch, and it's kind of being done in the No Starch style. It's sort of part of their range, and it's going to link in with a new course that I'm building as well, which is basically like, if you think of total TypeScript, my course, it's kind of not really total. You know what I mean? It's kind of like intermediate and up. I mean, I haven't really tackled the beginnery stuff all the way up to intermediate and that sort of area. And so this is...
So you've made stuff for Dax. You haven't made anything for me yet.
Yes, exactly.
I need the beginning.
The basics,
the very
But it's
early beginning.
And I haven't done that because it's really hard. It's really hard to teach that stuff in a way that I like to teach it, which is in an exciting way. I like to actually find the nuggets of good information and pull them out and hone in on those and kind of fix it in people's brains in a really good way. Like, this is techniques that I learned from singing teaching, you know what I mean? If you just tell someone do it, then they do it. But if you tell someone it in a metaphorical way where it makes sense and the information's organized correctly and they're having challenges that they go along the way. So it has taken, I think there's like 400 videos on it, like 200 exercises, like it's nuts.
Oh my God.
Huge thing.
Wow.
That I've been planning and recording and also doing workshops on. So I've been doing live workshops at a couple of companies to kind of test the material out and stuff. It has been a huge amount of work. And then Baby came along as well. So it's been sort of slowly growing since January. And so that I think is going to come out in June. Like it's going to come out pretty soon.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's going to be, despite all this work, it's going to be, I think, about a third of the price of Total TypeScript. So it's going to be priced at kind of beginner intermediate level.
Yeah, so people can buy it for themselves. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm trying to make it so that it's like, because I think with Total TypeScript as it is currently, a team will look at that and they'll go, well, it looks a bit advanced. You know what I mean? It like, are my engineers really going to benefit from this? You know, it's obviously expensive, obviously worth the money, but like it's advanced. I kind of want to just make a no-brainer course, like that a company can buy, you know, like 50 of or something and just go, bam, train all your engineers on that, just have it. And that's the idea. So that's what I've been working on for 10 months. Yeah. Wow. Crazy.
The question I have is, so I think there's this interesting dynamic that exists now, which is you presume that a beginner is entering, like they know programming, but like dynamic languages, and learning a typed language is like a next step thing that you do, and like people perceive it in that order. And I think that makes sense. I think that is true. A lot of people, they do follow that path. But to the point where people describe it as like, oh, it's like too challenging to learn both at the same time if you're new to programming. But then I think back to my own journey, and like I started with C#, which is a typed language, and TypeScript effectively just looks exactly like C#. And yeah, it's not like I understood all the deep type stuff till later, but it also didn't get that much in my way. Like I was still able to learn programming. It didn't like, I don't remember it being that much of a hassle to learn about types. So is your course targeting like someone new to programming, someone that knows programming but doesn't, like how do you think about all that?
I'm thinking of it, if you look at like TypeScript's documentation, it's targeted at people who already know JavaScript, basically. You know what I mean? It's not really for new programmers. And I don't think TypeScript is, because TypeScript is JavaScript. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like every design decision that has been made by TypeScript is made because it compiles to JavaScript. That's the reason. That's the reason it exists. And so in my course, I just assume people know JavaScript to a decent level. And that I think is like a decent assumption. It's not always paid off that well in the live workshops, because some people like who come to the live workshops have only done Python. You know what I mean? I've had a couple of people like that. And it's structured in such a way where, you know, like they get a sense of what the JavaScript does, but actually it's mostly just teaching the types. And that I think is where the industry is right now. It's like a lot of people know JavaScript, and a lot of people that know it a bit and just need to be moved over to TypeScript, join the TypeScript revolution, you know? So that's where it is.
Yeah. So like there's specific cases I think about, because my wife has been learning programming. She's not new to building software. She's done everything besides the actual programming part. So she's coming with some context. But there were specific things. So we tried going that route. We were like, okay, learn JavaScript first. Like, let's ignore the types stuff for now. But there were certain concepts that were actually made easier with types. So I was trying to explain to her what function arguments were. Like, now here's a function, sum A, B. It was way easier for me to use the TypeScript version of that where it said a : number, because that like clicked for her more. She was like, oh, this is an argument that always has to be a number. Of course, that's some function you're always passing numbers. Yeah. So that specific case, I was like, oh yeah, it's maybe like even better to have a statically typed language, even for a beginner. And then two, obviously all the, when she went off to do something on her own, doing TypeScript gave her way more hints in the editor. And I found that to be like, we didn't have the LSP set up initially. And then when I turned it on, she like suddenly was getting all this feedback, and that like helped her massively also.
Yeah, that's fascinating to me, that, because that is something I've been turning over in my head for a while, really. Like since I've started doing this course, it's part of me is thinking, what if this was targeted at new programmers? What would that look like? And probably TypeScript will get to a point at some point where it just doesn't make sense to learn JavaScript first, because you're not going to get actual JavaScript jobs. They're mostly 95% TypeScript jobs, you know. So you're probably right. Like there's this kind of, the IDE just feels so much more powerful. You're getting all these hints. It's really nice. Like I was teaching my friend how to code, and we did a bit of CSS, and you know, she was kind of like piecing it together, seeing, how it works, and go, okay, yeah, I get how it works. And the next day, or next time we met up, we did Tailwind. And she was like, why didn't you just teach me this? It's just so much more powerful. It's just, I get autocomplete on all the stuff I want. I just go bam, 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 bam. What the hell were we doing last week?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because, again, if you go back to my experience when I was in C#, I had all that. Like I was using Visual Studio, which was like a fantastic IDE with all this stuff built into it. It even like rewrote my code for me when it was inefficient. Like it just was super useful. So we were looking for, okay, what's the best way? What's the best course? What's the best resource you can start with? And everything was very JavaScript focused. And I don't know, just like trying to get her up to speed as fast as possible. And both, it just felt like might as well. I wish there was just something that we just committed TypeScript from the beginning.
I know. I just don't think it exists, actually. I don't think there is something like that. And it's something I have thought about, maybe made resources for, or thought about making it. Currently, there's not a kind of economic incentive for me to do that. Like my stuff is not for beginners. You know what I mean? I do have a beginners course, but like beginners are not where the money is in terms of people who. I don't like asking beginners for money. Like I want to ask people who have got a job. That kind of thing. There's definitely got to be something there.
Yeah. Because we looked, and obviously stuff in that category should be free. Like they're typically free resources. But yeah, like there was a lot of really great stuff, but no one really committed to TypeScript yet. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, maybe maybe I'll have a bit of free time after this course launches, and I can do something else. That's going to be great. Finishing a massive piece of work and then just.
Oh man, no kidding. 10 months. That's a huge side. You're getting ready to close the world's most amount of browser tabs that have ever been closed at once. I'm guessing.
Yeah, I
some baby tabs mixed in.
I lose my tabs every 5 minutes. Like I don't know what you're talking about.
I think I might be pretty much unique in that I basically only have one browser tab open at a time.
See? Exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
What? You guys are crazy.
How do you find anything?
Here.
How do you find anything when
don't? You just leave them all open, and then eventually you close them all.
Damn, man.
But I'm like...
It's awful.
Okay. You were that guy in the student house that would never tidy up his, like, you would never clean up your stuff after you cook.
No, it's true.
Yeah. I am very messy. Not very messy. I am extremely organized and precise in my digital world, but like my physical world is nothing like that.
I'm actually the opposite. I'm actually pretty physically organized, and my digital, like my downloads folder is an infinitely growing cesspool of everything I ever download, and I never touch it. I never delete anything. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's it.
Inbox infinity, the whole thing. I'm pretty digitally unkempt.
The other question I had was, you said you're writing a book. I was always curious about the economics of a book, because so as a consumer, I've never bought a course. I've bought plenty of books, mostly when I am trying to get into a completely new topic and I just need to go as deep as possible. I'll just buy the book and read it. I know I have like basic coverage of it, but books are so cheap and they seem really hard to produce. So do people make any money off of books? Like, how does that all work?
I kind of buried the lead on what I was saying before, because actually we are giving the book away for free.
I see. Okay.
We do have a print version. But I will. How about this? I'll just give you a little sneaky look. I'll stick it in the chat. People do make money off books. Like these are textbook size things. These are like retailing for a decent price. And obviously, as soon as you've made the book, like I think one of No Starch's biggest sellers is just basically a book version of the Rust open source documentation.
Right.
Like that's one of the biggest sellers, and people just like it because they just like the feel of it, and they like it's almost like an aspirational thing. You know what I mean? Like they buy the book and they think, right, if I just set the book over there, the knowledge will just travel over here. But it's a nice experience, reading a book. And, taking your
I like books, and like I have a whole stack of programming books there.
Yeah. I think developers just have enough money that they can justify buying or having a whole industry that's just taking information on the internet and putting it in paper. Putting it on dead trees and then shipping it.
Yeah. So, but do you feel like the book that you wrote, does that feel like the same amount of work for an equivalent course, or was it more work, less work?
I finished the course quite a while ago, actually, and then writing the book has taken a lot longer. I think probably I had the baby at a time that meant that writing the book was, and I tend to find recording videos a lot faster than writing, just a lot. Because I've got this public speaking background, I can do it very, very fast, and writing takes a lot longer. It's still relatively fast, but you probably feel the same.
I feel the same. Oh, did we lose you?
Hello.
Oh, there we go. You're back.
Hello.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say is I feel the same way. I feel like if I'm gonna spend 100 hours, I could like equivalent of course versus writing. I feel like a course I could definitely get out. Writing seems a lot more challenging. So that's what makes me want it. And the courses make so much more, or at least it costs so much more per whatever. So yeah, that like once I clicked for me, I was like, why does anyone even write a book when they could just make a course that, you know?
I think the reason why we wanted to do it was, first of all, it's like, it's cool to have a book, you know what I mean?
It's cool.
Some people just want the book, and like it means we can offer something that's at a different price point from the courses. You know, like obviously we're going to have now like free linked book, you know, which is going to be so cool, great for SEO and stuff, great for inbound stuff. People are going to share this all over the place. It's going to be awesome. Then we've got book, you know, however much they sell it for, and that's going to be available in places that are not digital. You know, it's going to be like people will stumble upon that. People will see that on shelves and think, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what that is. Look it up online, maybe find the course. You know, it sort of seeds itself. And then we've got mid-price course and then high-price course. That's the kind of offering now. And so that's the rationale for the book, I think.
Yeah. I mean, even for us, like our company SST, the first thing we ever built was a book, actually, a free book on how to build serverless applications. And over the years, that has gotten crazy SEO to this day. Like we still get a crazy amount of traffic just from that. And we haven't really updated it as much as it should be. And then now there's like real companies where when we see their code base, we're like, oh, you just took what was in the book, and now it's like a company and a code base of people that work there. So it is wild to see that. Given enough time, you watch that whole funnel happen. It's slow, but yeah, I totally see how that works.
It really pays off. And the internet is built on text, you know what I mean? Like eventually you're going to need text in your portfolio of offerings that you have, you know, emails and blah, 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 blah. And it's hard to produce, or I find it a lot harder, but yeah, you gotta have it. Yeah.
Well, Adam's just dipping a toe in this world now. So
just a tiny little toe. I'm just dipping. I'm not at 400 videos. Man, every time I hear like you or Kent talk about just cranked out 400 videos for the next thing, I'm like, oh my God. I have so much ahead of me and I'm going too slow.
You're doing a course?
I'm doing a pro AWS. I'm working with Joel. I'm doing the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm just at the very, very, very beginning of that journey.
Happy to offer any advice that I can.
I could just sit here and peppered you the entire podcast, but I didn't want to do that for everyone that listens. I might DM you though. You've walked the path that I would like to go. I thoroughly enjoy teaching so far.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. I've done one live workshop. And I've absolutely loved it.
You're doing the journey. Yeah.
I'm doing it. Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll see. But man, a lot of videos ahead.
Yeah.
400, that's a lot.
I have a very do you want to talk about it now or do you want to talk about it later?
I mean, I'm down.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
if you've got time,
we can basically what I do is every video, literally if it's like a 5-minute video, it takes like 7 minutes to record. You know what I mean? It's basically just me reacting to code samples, talking through stuff. Like mostly it's like I have this setup, if you've ever done any of my courses, where set up a problem and then show my solution. And talking about the problem, it's literally just talking about code. You know what I mean? So I just hit record, hit unrecord. I've got a script that automatically cuts the silence off the start and end of the videos and then saves it in the right folder and bam. So
I've actually seen, I think I've read the whole case study that they put on Badass Dev. I've read your process.
Yeah.
So I maybe have fewer questions than you would expect because I've kind of like poured over the material. It takes me currently, I'm not taking your advice because it takes me about 35 minutes to make 5 minutes of video.
Yeah.
I'm so slow.
People really
I've got to like get over the hump.
People really like fewer cuts, actually. That's what I've learned is people really like it.
Yeah.
Just
like say the thing.
say the thing. It's like they're,
Yeah.
pair programming with you. It's like you're just on the call together, and it feels more natural, I think. And people really dig that. And people can just speed up your voice as well. Like a lot of people, I think, just do the course on 1.5 or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. It's I mean, Joel's great. Like having that crew, just the way they think about this stuff, and they've gone down this path so many times that they just kind of can tell me what to do, sort of. I mean, they say they're not your boss, but like I need somebody to tell me like this is what you should do next, and that's so helpful to me because if I did it on my own, it would take me even longer than it's already taken me.
For people at home, that's badass.dev. They've got maybe one of the nicest landing pages I think I've ever seen. It's so nice. And like, I've never been to Joel's house, but I think the landing page was basically inspired by his desk.
Yeah.
Like
I've seen the pictures.
His office is really cool. Yeah.
Insane load of knickknacks and weird stuff, and like, just loads of weird stuff. And I think I just felt like I felt like a passenger in a Formula One car. You know what I mean? Like they were just driving. To go back to a previous thing.
Can we go back to the anal beads? Is there any way we could pull that back?
I was hoping we could. I thought you would get that signal and we would circle back to it, and that would be the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
And
Badass.dev. It's like being in a Formula car with anal beads at the same time.
With anal beads that vibrate. Yeah.
That's it. You get the grooves in your mind, you put the VR headset on, and you're just locked in. Is that a part of the setup? I don't know.
Matt, thank you so much for coming on. This was so good. I think we lost him literally at the very end.
Hello.
Oh, wait, there he is.
Back. I had a great punchline, which only Dax would get, which is like force feedback. But,
Oh, there you go.
I don't get that. Yeah, you're right.
They don't have that in the Ozarks.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was great talking to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, great to have you.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, anything else to say, to plug?
You let me plug beautifully. Thank you so much. And plug.
If you're interested in TypeScript,
I guess the new course, totaltypescript.com. It's all the new stuff will be be is that right?
Yeah, totaltypescript.com. I've written maybe 60, 70 articles on there, free tutorials on there. I'm going to be doing a lot more stuff on the newsletter as well, and doing less on socials, more on the newsletter. So that's the place.
Cool. Thanks again. We don't really have a way to get off there. Okay. We say bye. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Thanks for coming by.
All right. Thanks. Bye.